Meet Sarah Johnson, a simple farm girl from Nebraska who just walked into the sleek offices of Empire Industries in New York City. Is this some kind of joke? Sneered Ms. Parker, the interviewer. We don't hire country bumpkins at our billion-dollar company. The entire office burst into laughter as Sarah stood there in her modest clothes, clutching her resume. People pointed and whispered behind their designer coffee cups. Maybe she can clean our offices, someone joked, loud enough for everyone to hear. Sarah's cheeks burned with shame. Was this the end of her big city dreams? Suddenly, the elevator dinged. Everyone froze as Jack Taylor, the CEO himself, walked in. What's going on here? He asked, his eyes landing on Sarah. Ms. Parker smiled smugly. Just explaining to this farm girl that she doesn't belong here. Jack's expression changed. He stepped forward and announced, everyone, there's something about Ms. Johnson you need to know. The room fell silent. What secret was about to be revealed? Sarah Johnson took a deep breath as she stepped off the bus in New York City. The tall buildings seemed to touch the clouds. Cars honked. People rushed by in fancy clothes, and nobody smiled at strangers like they did back home in Oakville, Nebraska. I can do this, Sarah whispered to herself, clutching her small suitcase. Inside were her best clothes, not fancy, but clean and pressed, her high school diploma, and a letter from Mr. Jack Taylor, CEO of Empire Industries. The letter had arrived 3 months ago after Sarah had written to Mr. Taylor about his company's scholarship program. To her surprise, he had written back personally, saying her essay about bringing small-town values to big business was refreshing. He had offered to help with her college tuition if she came to New York for an interview. Sarah had saved every penny from her jobs at the local diner and her family's farm to buy her bus ticket. Her parents had been worried. New York City will eat you alive, her father had warned. Those city folks look down on people like us. But Sarah believed in herself. She had been top of her class in Oakville High School, population 327 students. Surely that counted for something. Following the map on her phone, Sarah found a small, affordable motel where she could stay. The room was tiny and the wallpaper was peeling, but it was clean enough. She carefully hung up her interview outfit, a blue dress her mother had made in her only pair of low-heeled shoes. That night, Sarah could barely sleep. What if her father was right? What if people laughed at her accent or the way she dressed? What if Mr. Taylor regretted offering her this chance? Morning came too quickly. Sarah got ready, practiced her handshake in the mirror, and repeated the facts about Empire Industries she had memorized. The company headquarters was a massive glass building that sparkled in the morning sun. Sarah's stomach twisted into knots as she approached the front desk. I'm here for an interview, she said to the receptionist, a woman with perfect makeup who looked like she belonged in a magazine. The receptionist looked Sarah up and down, taking in her simple dress and the small pin of a sunflower, Nebraska state flower, on her collar. Name? She asked with a raised eyebrow. Sarah Johnson. I have a letter from Mr. Taylor himself. Sarah held out the letter with pride. The receptionist's eyes widened slightly as she read it. Wait here, she said, picking up her phone. This should be interesting. Sarah sat in the waiting area, her back straight as a cornstalk. The Empire Industries lobby was filled with people in suits that probably cost more than her family's monthly mortgage payment. Everyone who walked by seemed to notice her, and not in a good way. Ms. Johnson. A sharp voice called out. Follow me. The woman who beckoned was Ms. Parker, head of human resources. She wore a tight black dress and red-soled shoes that clicked against the marble floor. Sarah hurried to keep up as they entered a glass conference room where 4 other people sat waiting. This is the candidate from, where was it again? Ms. Parker asked, not bothering to hide her smirk. Oakville, Nebraska, Sarah answered clearly. Ah yes, cow country, said a man with slick back hair. The others chuckled. Ms. Parker sat down and gestured to a chair. So, Ms. Johnson, what makes you think you're qualified to work at Empire Industries? We usually hire from Harvard or Yale, not farm schools. Sarah swallowed hard. I graduated top of my class with perfect grades. I was student body president and... Did they teach you about quarterly financial reports between milking cows? Interrupted a woman with sharp glasses. More laughter filled the room. Sarah's cheeks burned, but she kept her voice steady. No, but they taught me about hard work and solving problems with limited resources. How quaint, Ms. Parker said, flipping through Sarah's resume. And what exactly are you wearing? Is that handmade? Sarah touched her dress. Yes, my mother made it. The room erupted in barely contained laughter. Let me be clear, Ms. Parker said, leaning forward. Empire Industries is the top financial firm in the country. Our clients are billionaires who expect sophistication. You simply don't fit our image." Sarah felt tears threatening but blinked them away. Her father's warning echoed in her head, but she remembered why she came. Mr. Taylor's letter said. "Mr. Taylor is very busy running this company," Ms. Parker cut in. "He occasionally signs letters for our community outreach program, but that doesn't mean you're qualified to work here." Just then, the conference room door swung open. Everyone immediately stood up. Sarah turned to see a tall man with kind eyes and silver hair at his temples. "Mr. Taylor," Ms. Parker stammered. "We weren't expecting you." Jack Taylor's eyes scanned the room, then landed on Sarah. "Is this Sarah Johnson from Nebraska?" Sarah nodded, unable to speak. "Everyone," Mr. Taylor said, his voice filling the room, "there's something about Ms. Johnson you should know." The room went completely silent. Sarah just faced the worst mockery of her life. Have you ever been judged unfairly because of where you're from? Share your experience in the comments below. Did you stand your ground like Sarah? Or did you handle it differently? Let's talk about it while we see what Mr. Taylor is about to reveal. Ms. Johnson's essay on how rural values could transform corporate culture was the best thing I've read in years, Mr. Taylor announced. Which is why I personally invited her here. Ms. Parker's mouth fell open. "But sir, she has no experience in." "Sometimes fresh I see what experts miss," Mr. Taylor interrupted. "Sarah, I'd like you to join my office as my special assistant. Starting today." The room froze in shocked silence. Sarah could hardly believe her ears. "Thank you, Mr. Taylor. I won't let you down," she managed to say. Ms. Parker's smile was tight as a drum. "Well then, welcome to Empire Industries, Ms. Johnson." 20 minutes later, Sarah followed Mr. Taylor to the executive floor. While he attended a meeting, his current assistant, Vanessa, showed Sarah around. "So you're from a farm?" Vanessa asked, eyeing Sarah's clothes. Vanessa wore a designer outfit and diamond earrings that caught the light. "My family has a small farm, yes," Sarah replied. "How interesting," Vanessa said in a way that meant the opposite. "Mr. Taylor must see something special in you." By lunchtime, word had spread through the company about the farmer's daughter who had skipped the usual hiring process. In the cafeteria, Sarah stood alone with her tray until a friendly IT guy named Mike offered her a seat. "Don't mind them," he said, nodding toward the tables of people whispering. "They're just jealous." "Of me?" Sarah laughed. "Why would anyone here be jealous of me?" "Because Taylor never takes a personal interest in new hires. Vanessa's been trying to get promoted for years, and you just walked in and got the position she wanted." After lunch, Sarah returned to find a stack of paperwork on her new desk. Vanessa smiled sweetly. "Mr. Taylor needs these organized by 3 p.m. I usually take a full day for this task, but I'm sure you'll figure it out." Sarah looked at the hundreds of papers, financial terms she'd never seen before, complicated charts, and documents from different departments. It was clearly a setup to fail. Instead of panicking, Sarah remembered how she'd organized a massive county fair back home with just a notebook and color-coded system. She rolled up her sleeves and got to work. At 2:55 p.m., Sarah knocked on Mr. Taylor's door with the perfectly organized files. "Already?" he asked, surprised. "Let's see." As he flipped through the work, his eyebrows rose. "This organization system is brilliant. I can actually find what I need now." From the corner of her eye, Sarah saw Vanessa watching through the glass wall, her face dark with anger. "Thank you, sir," Sarah said. "On our farm, we have to keep track of a lot with very little. My dad always says simple systems solve complicated problems." Mr. Taylor smiled. "Your dad sounds like a wise man. I think you're going to shake things up around here, Sarah Johnson." 2 weeks flew by at Empire Industries. Sarah worked harder than she ever had, arriving early and staying late. She kept her head down and ignored the whispers that followed her through the hallways. On Monday morning, Mr. Taylor called Sarah into his office. "I need you in the Peterson meeting today," he said, reviewing documents on his tablet. Sarah's heart raced. The Peterson Group was Empire's biggest client, worth billions. "Are you sure, sir? Vanessa usually handles those meetings." Vanessa called in sick. Again. Mr. Taylor looked up. "Unless you don't feel ready?" Sarah straightened her shoulders. "I'm ready, sir." In the boardroom, 12 executives in expensive suits sat around a massive table. Sarah quietly took her seat beside Mr. Taylor, aware of the curious glances. "Who's the new girl, Jack?" asked Mr. Peterson, a man with a gold watch that probably cost more than Sarah's parents' car. "Sarah Johnson, my new assistant," Mr. Taylor replied. Mr. Peterson squinted at Sarah. "Doesn't look like your usual hire." The meeting began and Sarah took careful notes. When discussion turned to a struggling farm equipment company in the Midwest that Peterson wanted to acquire and break apart, Sarah's pen stopped moving. "Something wrong, Ms. Johnson?" Mr. Peterson asked, noticing her expression. Sarah hesitated, then gathered her courage. "Sir, that company employs over 2,000 people across 5 rural communities. If it's shut down, those towns will die." The room went silent. No one ever challenged Mr. Peterson. "And you know this how?" he asked coldly. "My uncle works there. Those communities depend on those jobs." Mr. Peterson's eyes narrowed. "Business isn't about saving small towns, young lady. It's about profit." "With all due respect," Sarah continued, her voice steady despite her pounding heart, "there's a different approach that could be more profitable long-term." The executives exchanged shocked glances as Sarah pulled out her tablet and showed a simple plan she'd been working on. It outlined how the company could be modernized rather than dismantled, potentially yielding higher returns over 5 years while preserving jobs. "These are actual numbers from similar situations in rural economies," Sarah explained. "Sometimes saving something is more valuable than tearing it apart." Mr. Peterson studied the screen, then looked at Mr. Taylor. "Where did you find this girl, Jack?" "Nebraska," Mr. Taylor said with a small smile. After the meeting, Mr. Peterson shook Sarah's hand. "You've got guts, farm girl. And your plan makes sense. We'll look into it." Back in his office, Mr. Taylor closed the door. "That was either very brave or very foolish, Sarah." She swallowed hard. "I'm sorry if I overstepped, sir." To her surprise, Mr. Taylor laughed. "Peterson's been bulldozing my team for years. No one's ever stood up to him." He looked at her with new respect. "You bring something different to this company, Sarah. Something we've been missing." Sarah's starting to show Empire Industries what rural values are really worth. If you're enjoying her journey from mockery to respect, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We post new stories of underdogs rising above judgment every week. Hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss how Sarah handles what's coming next. The following week, Mr. Taylor announced that Sarah would present Empire's new rural investment initiative at the quarterly board meeting. It was an honor usually reserved for senior executives. "You're the perfect person to explain why investing in America's heartland is smart business," he told her. News spread quickly. While some colleagues finally began warming up to Sarah, others, especially Vanessa and Ms. Parker, grew more resentful. "Congratulations on your big presentation," Vanessa said, dropping by Sarah's desk one afternoon. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Need any help with the slideshow? I'm quite good with presentations." Sarah hesitated. Though Vanessa had been cold to her, she knew little about creating fancy corporate slideshows. "That would be great, actually. Thank you." For the next few days, Sarah worked tirelessly on her presentation. She gathered data about rural economies, interviewed farmers back home over video calls, and built compelling arguments for why Empire Industries should invest in forgotten small towns. Vanessa occasionally offered suggestions, showing Sarah how to save her work on the company's shared system. "So we can collaborate," she explained. The night before the board meeting, Sarah stayed late to practice. Her simple navy dress had been replaced by a new blazer and skirt, still modest compared to other women at Empire, but professional. She'd even bought her first pair of real heels with her first paycheck. "Big day tomorrow," Mike from IT said, stopping by her desk. "Nervous." "Terrified," Sarah admitted. "But ready." "You'll do great," he encouraged. "Just be yourself. That's what got you this far." Sarah arrived extra early the next morning to review her presentation one last time. When she opened the file, her heart stopped. The entire slideshow was gone. In its place was a single slide with a cartoon cow, and the words, "Moving Rural America Forward." "No, no, no," Sarah whispered, frantically checking backup files. Nothing. All her work had been replaced with childish farm jokes and nonsensical graphs. The board meeting started in 30 minutes. Mr. Taylor's reputation was on the line. He had personally championed both Sarah and this initiative. Sarah tried not to panic. She closed her eyes and took deep breaths, remembering the time a blizzard had knocked out power to their farm for 3 days. Her family hadn't panicked. They'd adapted. I need to adapt, she told herself. With 20 minutes left, Sarah grabbed a notepad and began sketching. When Mike walked by, she waved him over frantically. Someone sabotaged my presentation. Can you help me rebuild something fast? Mike's eyes widened. Vanessa and Ms. Parker were in early, working on something in the conference room. I can check the server logs. No time, Sarah said. Can you help me create something simple? Just the main points and real numbers. Together, they built a stripped-down presentation, basic but clear and honest. No fancy graphics or corporate jargon, just straightforward facts and Sarah's passionate knowledge. As board members filed into the conference room, Sarah stood tall despite her trembling knees. Mr. Taylor gave her an encouraging nod. You've got this, he whispered. Sarah's simplified presentation was a surprising success. Board members appreciated her straightforward approach and genuine passion. Chairman Wilson even called it refreshingly honest in an industry drowning in flashy nonsense. Mr. Taylor beamed with pride. As Sarah left the boardroom, Vanessa approached with an overly bright smile. Congratulations, though your original slides were much better. Such a shame about the technical glitch. Sarah just nodded, unwilling to cause a scene. She knew what had happened wasn't a glitch, but she had no proof. The next morning, Mr. Taylor called Sarah into his office. The board loved your presentation. They've approved the Rural Investment Initiative with double the budget we requested. His eyes twinkled. We're sending you to Nebraska next week to scout potential investments in your hometown area. Sarah could hardly believe it. Thank you, sir. This will make such a difference for communities like mine. You earned it, Mr. Taylor replied. Oh, and take this. He handed her a small velvet box. Inside was a gold pin with the Empire Industries logo, only given to team members who make extraordinary contributions. Throughout the day, colleagues who had previously ignored Sarah stopped by to congratulate her. Even Ms. Parker offered a stiff nice work. Sarah felt like she was finally being accepted. After lunch, Sarah couldn't find her employee badge. She searched her desk, retraced her steps to the cafeteria, but it was nowhere to be found. Without it, she couldn't access secure areas of the building. I'll need to get a temporary pass, she told the security desk. When she returned to her desk, she found Vanessa and Ms. Parker standing there with the head of security. Mr. Taylor stood to the side, his expression grave. What's going on? Sarah asked. Ms. Parker pointed to Sarah's bag on her desk. We need to check your personal belongings. Why? Just a routine security matter, the security officer said, though his tone suggested otherwise. Before Sarah could respond, Vanessa reached into Sarah's bag and pulled out a small black device. Oh my, isn't this the missing prototype from R&D? The one worth $75,000. All color drained from Sarah's face. That's not mine. I've never seen that before. It was in your bag, Ms. Johnson, the security officer stated flatly. Sarah, Mr. Taylor's voice was heavy with disappointment. The R&D team reported this missing yesterday. The security cameras show someone matching your description near their lab last night. That's impossible. I was at my desk all evening. Miss Parker shook her head sadly. The Farm Girl Act was convincing, I'll give you that. But it seems your simple, honest values were just an act. Mr. Taylor, please, Sarah pleaded. Someone planted this. I would never steal anything. The entire office was watching now. Whispers spread like wildfire. I trusted you, Sarah, Mr. Taylor said quietly. I put my reputation on the line for you. You've been suspended pending investigation, Miss Parker announced, looking almost pleased. Please clean out your desk and surrender your company property. As security escorted her out, Sarah caught a glimpse of Vanessa and Miss Parker exchanging smug smiles. That night in her small motel room, Sarah cried until no tears remained. Then she bought a bus ticket back to Nebraska. Sarah's been framed and humiliated after all her hard work. Do you think she should fight back or walk away? What would you do in her position? Drop your thoughts in the comments below while we discover if the truth will ever come to light. Sarah had been back in Oakville for 3 days. The familiar sights of cornfields and open sky should have been comforting, but she felt hollow inside. Her parents didn't ask many questions when she showed up at the farmhouse. They just welcomed her home with open arms. "Those city folks," her father said over breakfast. "I knew they'd treat you like this." "It wasn't everyone, Dad," Sarah replied, stirring her coffee. "Mr. Taylor gave me a real chance. I just don't understand what happened." Her mother squeezed her hand. "Truth has a way of coming to light, honey." Meanwhile in New York, Mike from IT couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong about Sarah's sudden departure. During his lunch break, he decided to review the security footage from the day of the theft. The video showed someone in a blazer like Sarah's entering the R&D lab, but their face was always turned away from the cameras. Suspicious, Mike dug deeper, checking the building's entry logs. "That's odd," he muttered. According to the system, Sarah's badge had been used to enter the R&D department at 7:42 p.m., but her computer showed she was actively working on emails until 8:15 p.m. She couldn't have been in two places at once. Mike took his findings to Mr. Taylor's office, where he found the CEO looking troubled. "Sir, I think Sarah was framed," Mike said, showing him the time discrepancy. Mr. Taylor frowned. "That's concerning but not conclusive." "There's more," Mike continued. "I checked the server logs from the day of Sarah's presentation. Someone logged in using Vanessa's credentials and deliberately deleted Sarah's original files." Mr. Taylor's expression darkened. "Show me everything." By that evening, they had uncovered the truth. Security cameras from different angles revealed Vanessa using Sarah's missing badge to enter R&D. Email records showed Ms. Parker had been sending confidential company information to a competing firm for months. Information she tried to blame on Sarah's rural investment research. The final piece came when they found the real prototype, still in R&D, never stolen at all. The device planted in Sarah's back was a convincing replica. "They set her up completely," Mike said, shaking his head. Mr. Taylor's face was stone cold with anger. "Get security. Now!" The next morning, employees watched in shock as security escorted Vanessa and Ms. Parker out of the building. Rumors spread quickly about stolen prototypes, corporate espionage, and a conspiracy against the farm girl. In Nebraska, Sarah was helping her father repair a tractor when her phone rang. Seeing Mr. Taylor's name, she almost didn't answer. "Hello. Sarah, it's Jack Taylor. We need to talk." Her heart pounded as he explained what they discovered: the sabotage presentation, the badge theft, the fake prototype, all of it. "I owe you an apology," Mr. Taylor said, his voice heavy with regret. "I should have trusted you." Sarah sat down on a hay bale, overwhelmed. "Thank you for telling me." "I don't just want to apologize," Mr. Taylor continued. "I want you to come back. Not as my assistant, but to lead our new rural development division. Your vision is exactly what this company needs." Sarah looked out across the fields of her family farm, then up at the big open sky. "I'll need to think about it," she said quietly. 1 week later, Sarah walked back into Empire Industries. This time, she wore a professional suit tailored by her mother, with her Nebraska sunflower pin proudly displayed. The elevator doors opened to reveal the executive floor transformed. Banner-sized photos of American farmlands and small towns decorated the walls, the first visible signs of Empire's new rural development initiative. Mr. Taylor greeted her with a warm handshake. "Welcome back, Sarah." He led her to a large corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows, bigger than the one he'd given Vanessa or Ms. Parker. "This is yours now," he said. "As our new Chief Rural Investment Officer." Sarah's eyes widened. "Sir, Jack," he corrected. "We're colleagues now." Employees gathered in the main conference room for a special announcement. Sarah recognized faces that had once whispered behind her back, now looking at her with newfound respect. Mr. Taylor addressed the room. "Today marks a new direction for Empire Industries. Ms. Johnson will lead our $200 million investment in America's heartland, the largest initiative of its kind on Wall Street." He turned to Sarah. "Someone once called her a simple country bumpkin. They were wrong. She represents values our company desperately needed: honesty, hard work, and seeing worth where others see nothing." Sarah stepped forward to thunderous applause. "I almost didn't come back," she admitted to the crowd. "But I realized something important. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about doing what's right. The simple values I brought from Nebraska aren't weaknesses. They're my greatest strength." Her first act as executive was to hire Mike from IT as her deputy. Her second was to call her father. "Dad," she said, looking out at the New York skyline, "you were wrong about one thing. Not all city folks look down on people like us. Some just needed someone to help them look up and see the stars again."